welcome to my virtual launch party. I have here with me Mia Partlow, my friend, and amazing Scrabble player.
Hello.
Mia is going to ask me the questions that you all left on my blog for me so that we could have that part of the party.
All right. So the first question is from Amber, who asks, where did you get the idea to write 16 and the sequel, Truth?
Well, I had the idea for, and that's a great question, thanks Amber. I had the idea to write 16. It came to me just as a picture in my brain of this sort of punk rock girl, actually in a future kind of a anime sort of girl, and she was in a society that was not really conducive to being it wasn't a friendly society, and that was where I got that was the original beginning idea.
Well, this is a good segue to Gabby's question, which is, when you're starting a new project, do you know the characters or the plot first, or both?
Oh, well, I think it depends on what I'm writing. By the way, thank you, Gabby. In this one, I knew the character first. I knew Nina. I saw her, and I really didn't know what her story was. So when I started writing, I just had kind of an idea of where she was and a general idea of what the world was like, but I didn't know who she was. So I have to say, I usually go with the characters. It seems like I get a picture in my brain of someone, and then I need to do something. They need to do something, and I need to help them get it done.
Mm-hmm. Angie Sneaver asks, what did the first book teach you that you applied to writing the second one?
Oh, well, that's good. Hi, Angie. Thank you. I think the first book taught me that not everything that I wrote was necessarily going to stay in the story, and that I could write more than was actually going to be there, at least in my first drafts. And so I really learned a lot about just the process of editing more than anything, and that not to get married to anything that I was writing.
Mm-hmm. Well, Kiki had a second question, which is, what has been your favorite part of being a published author?
Oh, my favorite part of being a published author has been the fact that people are reading my book. That's the best part of it.
Well, Matthew Cody wants to know, why do you think readers, and young readers in particular, respond so strongly to dystopian literature? What makes it connect, especially today?
Oh, boy, that's great. That is a great question. Thanks, Matt. I think that young people today, in particular, there's so much going on, and they have so much access to everything that's happening in the world, and of course not all of it is good. And I think by reading dystopian books, especially ones that have strong characters that change and that are able to buck the system or work against tyranny and against situations that are horrible, and they survive and they make it. And I think that's really important, and I think young people really crave that that desire to read about and to see that, yes, I can do this. I can get through whatever's going on in my life, because look, it could be like this sort of thing. So I just think it resonates with younger readers, that idea of fighting against something really big and winning.
Mm-hmm. So Alyssa Grasso has a similar question. Writing books set in a bleak future, does it bring you down ever? And if so, how do you deal with that?
Oh, wow. That's a good question, Alyssa. When I read that one, I thought, man, I need to give that a little bit of thought. And writing it doesn't depress me so much as the present ideas or where some of these things come from, you know, that I'll read about that are happening right now in the world. Those are the things that really depress me. So the writing is kind of a way to work through that. So I have to say, writing them doesn't depress me. No.
It almost helps you cope.
Exactly. I think it does. It's kind of it's a release. It's like, oh, well, here's this horrible thing, and what could possibly fix it?
Okay, well, Alexandra Duncan has a question about your writing process. Do you play music while you write? And if so, do you find that there's a particular kind that inspires you, or does it change depending on what project you're working on?
Oh boy, music. I do not play music when I write. I have to, it's got to be quiet. You know, the best I can do is a cat purring at my side. Anything else is too much noise. However, when I'm working on something like 16 and Truth, the idea is, you know, what is a 16-year-old girl or a 16-year-old boy thinking? And the best way to put me there is to listen to the music I was listening to when I was 16. So when I'm actively writing, I'm not listening to those, but when I'm not sitting at the computer, I'm usually listening to golden oldies, because those were the songs and they bring up the feelings and the memories. And so that way I know when I'm writing a love scene or something really angsty, I will know that I remember exactly how it felt when I was that age.
And relatedly, Josie Bloss wants to know a little bit more about your writing process. What time of day do you write? How do you keep yourself from being distracted other than not listening to music? And do you revise as you go, or just all in one chunk?
Oh boy. Well, I have a day job, and so I got to be at work at 8 o'clock. I get up at 5. And I've got 5 cats and a dog. So I have to feed everybody, and that's not my writing process, but I got to get all this stuff out of the way before I can actually sit down to write. So by about 5:30, I'm in front of I've got my laptop in front of me. Sometimes I journal first for a little while just to get my brain flowing in that thought process. And I usually write from 6 to 7. And I can usually get about 600 or 700 words in during that time period. I might revise a little bit of what I wrote the day before, if I feel like I need to in order to get back into the story. But another writer friend of mine and I, who do a lot of writing together, have we copy and paste whenever we stop writing this little phrase that says, "Keep writing, don't look back." And I think that's really important, especially when you're doing a first draft, at least for me, that I just keep moving forward. So I write in the morning, then I go to work, come home, feed everybody again, feed myself, you know, do whatever needs to be done. And usually between 8 and 10, I'll sit down and write some more. So I didn't used to be able to write in the evenings, but lately I've been writing a lot more then. So,
how do you keep yourself from being too tired at the end of the day?
Oh, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I just sort of nod off. Because in the evenings I'll sit on the couch and I'll just get the laptop in there, and next thing you know I'm like, oh, just lean against the couch here for a second. So yeah, it doesn't always work. But sometimes, like the other night, I started writing about 10 o'clock at night, and because I had to stop and watch Once Upon a Time because I forgot that there was a new episode on the 8th. So anyway, once I got that out of the way, I started writing on this book I'm working on now, and the next thing I knew it was 1 o'clock in the morning. So sometimes you just go and just power through.